Okay, this is just a real quick video on the Home Depot. Let's see, the 9.5-foot werewolf. I think he's awesome. What bothered me though is that his eyes won't stay on when he's in sensor mode. So somebody has to trip the sensor for his eyes to turn on. I want his eyes on all the time. Not just when the sensor mode goes. When the sensor gets tripped, I want his mouth to move and all of that. But I want his eyes to stay lit all the time. So I just did a quick mod, and this is not the only way to do it. This may not be the right way to do it. This is the way that I did it. So I didn't see any information out there on how to make his eyes stay on all the time. I'm sure other people have done it, and they probably have better ways. It looks to me like no matter what you do, you're cutting a wire or two somewhere to get his eyes to stay on. So what I did is I went into the control box here. There's 4 screws, 1, 2, 3, 4, that hold that in. Then if you go to the back, you can take the back cover off. Right here, 4 other screws that hold the back cover on. And then this connector right up here on the right side has a red wire and a black wire. And those are the power to his eyes. And so I cut those wires there. I cut the red and the black. I don't know if you can see that very well. I tried to leave a little bit of length there if I ever try to put him back together the way he shipped from the store. And then I tied, I soldered a little white lot wires over to basically the input power there to those terminals. So the red wire goes to the terminal on the right next to that little IC there. The black wire, or the ground, it looked like both of those posts there are tied to ground, so I don't think it matters. But I soldered them there, and now I'm going to put the black cover on and put this all back together. This just seems less evasive to me. Like, you'll never see that. I was toying with if I should just, I got like a 6-volt plug here, and I was like, well, I'll just, have 2 plugs, and then I can have his, one will be for the eyes, and it'll be plugged in all the time. But I didn't want to mess with any of that. I want to turn the power on, have his eyes light up, and then if someone triggers the sensor, his mouth will move and all that. And the other, I'm still kind of debating, I like the yellow LED in his mouth. I like that. I kind of want it to be on all the time, but it does change colors, I think, as he's going through his roaring spiel. And so I'm not going to mess with that yet, but you could, to get that to stay on all the time, I think you could figure out which one of those it is and tie it also to the 6-volt there from the power supply, but I'm not going to do that yet. So anyway, I didn't see any videos out there, any how-tos, so I just thought I'd make this quick thing and give some ideas at least, of one way that you could do it. Like I say, that this may not be the best way. Other people may have better ideas, but this is the way that I did it, and hope it helps somebody. Okay, I got the werewolf all put back together. So the back cover screws are in, and then I reinstalled this box with the 4 screws. Pretty simple. And you don't see any extra wires. There's nothing extra there. If you're not comfortable getting in the control box and doing that soldering there and cutting the wires in there, like I say, I was toying with using like a power supply, just to, because I didn't want to cut into the power supply that comes with him. That's a 6-volt supply there, and I didn't really want to cut into that and run 6 volts. I thought, well, I can plug this in. This will provide 6 volts, and I can run wires from it up to his eyes, and just tie into, so that red and that black wire there, if you can see that, that's the 6-volt power to his eyes. And so if you ran from that 6-volt power supply up to there and you cut into that, so you cut the wires and then just soldered the 6-volt power supply wires to that, his eyes would stay on all the time. So I toyed with that, but I don't like the idea of running extra wires and having another plug. And so I felt like it seemed the most reasonable to me to just do it right at the control box inside there, and you never see anything. But if you're not comfortable getting into that, that would be another way you could do it. So I've already tested him out. It works. His eyes are on all the time now. One thing I am thinking about is I bought these little mono audio jacks. Can you see that? It's a mono headphone plug type thing. I can't remember what you call them. But if you put that into the Try Me port here, then I can't remember if when you open or close that connection between these two wires, but it'll trigger him to go through his howling sequence. And so I thought, well, maybe I could do some kind of automated thing where, I have some kind of control outside using a FET or transistor. I don't know. You can get those pressure pads that you step on, and so just various ways to get him to go into his howling sequence. This is just an idea that I'm still kind of thinking about. Just thought I'd throw that in there. Anyway, I'm going to stand it back up, and I'll show the finished result. But I kind of like this. You don't see anything. You don't have any extra wires. There's everything looks like it came from the store, but his eyes will be on all the time. Okay, there's the werewolf after the mod. You can see his eyes are on all the time. Like I say, just because I've hardwired them right into the power supply. So if the plug is on, if the plug is in, he's going to have his eyes lit up, which is what I wanted, even though right now I think he is in the off position. So let's see how this works. Right now, sorry. Okay, LED's on the bottom one. I'm going to go to, okay, that one's the on. Now I'm going to go to sensor. Okay, so we're in sensor mode, and I'm expecting his eyes to still be on, but he's going to trigger when it sees movement. And now I'm expecting his eyes to stay on, which they do. So that's what I wanted. I did not want his eyes and everything to shut off when he went through the howl. I want his eyes to stay on. So there we go. And I'm probably going to do this with her too. Because I think her eyes shut off when she's in sensor mode. So I'll probably do the same type of mod.